Hello, QST readers wherever you are. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, and I am the author of the Ask Dave column in QST. This is the supplemental video to the March 2023 edition of QST. Now, in that article, I wrote to a guy who had a small station compared to his friends at their local DX club. And I said it's possible to work challenging DX with your 20-watt station and antenna, though it's unlikely. Maybe a better phrasing there would have been, though it's extremely hard, which I guess makes it unlikely. It can be done. People have done it. People have DXCC with QRP and stuff like that. It can be done, but it's quite a challenge to do. Now, I also said for now, I would suggest concentrating on easy DX. And then I went on to say your next goal would be a new radio, then a better antenna such as a hex beam, and later an amplifier. In the long term, a tower with the Aggie. Now, sentence got, I think we could add here. The only thing better than working exotic DX is being exotic DX, comma, so therefore you might put it on your bucket list to go on a DX expedition, and you will be the DX. I have been at the bottom of pile-ups, people trying to call me. It's rather exciting to have that happen. And that same thing can happen to you if you join a DX expedition. Now, some of the big DX expeditions, like the one to Bouvet Island, which just terminated, are extraordinarily expensive and very, very, very difficult. But a little DX expedition might be as simple as going to a Caribbean island and activating it with your little 20-watt station. You will probably get lots of calls and lots of people will want your QSL, because for people who are like you, that's DX, and it's exciting to work something like that. Now, the question comes back. For now, I would suggest concentrating on easy DX. Let me help you figure out how to do that. This is taken from the same March QST. It's called the Contest Corral. This page is in every QST. So it will be one for March, one for April, and so on. And this is a list, which is a, they have to trim it somewhat to fit to one page. However, there are a bunch of contests on here. What you want to look for are contests that involve DX. Okay, for example, on the 4th of March, which is coming up day after tomorrow, on the weekend, starting at 0000 Zulu, which would actually be Friday evening U.S. time, there is the ARRL International DX Contest for single sideband. And there's also a URL that you can go to learn more about the contest. There's something called an exchange, meaning usually the DX station is calling and you just put your call sign in, they come back to you and you give, often it's like the number of the station you just worked, like it's the 100th station you just worked, or it could be your grid square, or it could be your state, or something like that. You can look up each contest to find out what the so-called exchange is. Now, there is a piece of logging software by n3fjp.com that you can go to, and they have specific logs for each specific contest. And so it'll be set up exactly with the right exchange and everything that you want, and you can capture that, and then it will capture the time and things like that. And it can give you some running statistics and so on. Now, these contest logs are part of a bigger piece of software called the N3FJP All Contact Log. So you can put them all in one place. But each contest log has the specific necessary information for you to file your entry. And it's fun to see your call sign in QST with your entry. Now, QST, they're not the only people who make contests. If we look at this list here and go down it, we see something like some RTTY sprints that will involve DX. There's the AWA John Rolling Memorial DX contest. UK EICC is on 80 meters, is an interesting contest. Maybe you can work Great Britain. That was a hard one for me to work. There are also other contests. I'm just going down the list here. Okay, there is a Czechoslovakian contest on the 6th, OK1WC Memorial, and there's an RSGB, that's the Radio Society of Great Britain. Now there is the YB RTTY contest. If you are set up for FT8, you're also set up for RTTY, but you'll have to use a piece of software like FLDigi, and that will get you the RTTY and so on. It takes a little experimentation. There's an EA contest, which is España, South America. Here's, let's see, a QRP contest, top band. Then there are the state QSO parties, if you're trying to get all the states. Here's the Oklahoma QSO party. Then there's the Tesla Memorial HFCW contest, which is not an American contest. Now, there is the North American Sprint on RTTY, and that is pretty much a domestic contest. But there's other contests down here that we can just take a little bit here. A Bavarian German contest that you can look at. And a UK contest. Here's the Russian DX contest. Yes, I know there are political things going on, but there's still ham radios in Russia, and they'd be quite happy to talk to you. Okay, and here's one that's French, the F9AA Cup, and that's single sideband. And you see, it just goes on and on and on. There are lots of contests that you can use. This is the easiest way possible to work DX. Now, are you going to work 100 different countries on using these contests? Probably not. Maybe you will, if you're real diligent at it. There are over 300 DX, that's Long Distance Century Club, DXCC, over 300 entities. Now, they don't call them countries. Colloquially, we call them countries. But like the U.S., Hawaii is a separate entity. Alaska is a separate entity. Puerto Rico is a separate entity, as are the American Virgin Islands in the Caribbean. That's all part of the United States, but they're different DX entities because they're separated from the mother country by a sufficient distance. Canada, of course, is a DX country. Australia, New Zealand, Japan, they're all relatively easy to work. So this is how you can get started and actually add some DX. And that little 20-watt station might acquit itself pretty well in a contest like this. And work some DX. That's how I've gotten DX. I do not have DXCC because I'm not a real DXer, but I have over 60 countries confirmed, and I have 80 worked. Now, one thing that's interesting, I have East Germany worked. That, of course, is impossible to do because East Germany no longer exists. It has merged with West Germany to be called Germany. And so that old East German contact counts because back at the time, East Germany was a separate DX entity. So all kinds of things that you can do for that. Have a lot of fun. If you're going to use a QRP station, you've got to be first with your call or last. And be sure to say your call sign and follow with the word QRP or low power or whatever you think. Technically on HF, we generally considered 5 watts to be QRP, 20 watts would be low power, but you can back that thing off if you want to. If you back it off, that's 6 dB, which is about an S unit. Okay, so there you have it. Ways to work Easy DX. And until we next meet, 73.